Hi, I'm Harry Rock, and welcome to another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. This is a special collaborative effort with Tina Gorman, Executive Director of the Westfield Senior Center, and Pete Coles, who is the producer of WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Our topic today is acting in theater for seniors. And my guest, who I'm quite excited to have in the studio with us today, is Steve Henderson, who has created an acting and theater group for seniors at the Westfield Senior Center. So we're going to be discussing his development of senior theater as well as enjoying a 35-minute taped performance entitled Mabel and Jerry, Obstacles to the Altar, which will follow this opening interview. So, Steve, awfully glad to have you on the show with me today. Welcome.
Thank you.
And, for the purpose of our viewers, it's always nice to kind of get to know who they are,
Sure.
Just a little synopsis about where you grew up, where you went to school.
Sure.
Where's home?
Where's home? Well, I live in Westfield. I've been living in Westfield since 2014, but I grew up in Granville.
Okay, great.
And went to high school in Westfield. The Granville kids used to bus on into Westfield. I think some still do. Some go to Southwick now.
Now, which high school were you at?
I was on Chestnut Street way back when.
Wow.
One of the last classes that was in that particular building. And then studied theater at Syracuse and eventually at UMass as well. But made a living in healthcare as a registered nurse for a long time, and some of that time was in pediatrics and then geriatrics.
Okay.
So I guess I'm an extremist when it comes to that. I don't think I am otherwise, or I'd like to think I'm not anyway.
Right. So what got you interested in theater? Is that something that you grew up with as a kid, or did that come later in life?
Yes, I hit the stage at 6 years old, and
I could hear the theater in your voice. You definitely have your speaking pattern.
Oh,
like
thank
you're
you.
on stage right now.
I think that's a compliment. I hope
it is a compliment.
Okay,
Absolutely. So 6 years old.
My children aren't always thrilled with that,
right.
but they still like me. Yeah, I mean, I played Peter Rabbit and wowed the Granville crowd, and boy, that stuck. And, I was in theater in high school and stuff. I kind of moved, and I went to college for it at first, but I kind of meandered about the world for quite a while there, and really theater wasn't a part of my life for I don't know, 15 years or so. And then I kind of crept back in with some community theater in the greater Springfield area. But eventually became a union actor.
Oh, really?
And, I've retired from the Equity Actors Union, and I have a little tiny pension that just about pays my cable bill from that, but it gives me bragging rights, if nothing else. And but and really kind of built up the theater angle of my life when I kind of caught a break when I was exiting the healthcare career. I was a corporate trainer basically for a long-term care elder services corporation, and they went belly up and sort of left me with a tidy little exit strategy. And I thought, and I'd been doing theater right along and had started doing some writing and had some success with that. And so I really just launched into it full time from there. And the senior thing, if I can tell you this story, is while I was a corporate trainer, there was an event for entry-level staff, largely nursing assistants and other ancillary function employees. And so to sort of show them what we were all about, I wrote a short play where I played an elderly patient named geriatric. And it was a little bit comic, but it showed them, sort of what we were all about, and tried to put a face on it, and they loved that so much they had me doing it for the senior management groups all across the company. They hired a studio to record it. They used it for orientation in some parts of the company. And so from that play, once I came out on my own and I was just doing theater all the time, I ended up writing a full-length version of that and then a spin-off of that ended up at the Majestic Theater in West Springfield in 2008. That was in their season.
Wow.
And I just and that play got performed at 3 different professional theaters, the spin-off one, and did really well. So those are the steps that got me here.
What is it about theater that obviously has meant so much to you since you're 6 years old? I think I was out playing cowboys and Indians and with my trucks. I was not thinking about being on the stage, and I was too shy a kid to even think about that at the time. But obviously it's part of who you are, but what is it that really gets you excited about the theater and acting and being in front of people?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I guess at the most basic root for me is I loved making my father laugh and my brother laugh. If I could make either of those laugh, I was having a great day. And then I found out that I could make a whole room full of people laugh every once in a while under certain circumstances. And there is so that's where it comes in terms of sort of an emotive thing. But the experience on stage, and for me in particular, I'm sure it's true in drama, and I've done a lot of drama, and it's sort of true for me there too, but there gets to be this psychic connection where you can just read the room and know how to get that crowd to laugh and how to get them to laugh longer and more often and louder. And then, as I worked with a crew. We were called Disturbed Theater. We were doing sketch comedy, and we had some what we considered wonderful shows, and I, to this day, think we were first rate. And we still talk about the connection we had up there and how we worked so well together. So it's an element of camaraderie and an element of just extreme concentration that is just so intense that it's addictive. And I think you could talk to any actor, and if you brought that particular subject up, you'd get a similar answer, that there is something about being up there, the connectivity of it, the excitement of it. It drives me. It still drives me. I don't know that I can ever let it go.
So I have to ask you, I've been on stage a couple of times, and not much. And the thing that has always held me off from ever doing much, I can't remember all the lines. How do you remember? In some of these plays, sometimes they're short conversation going back and forth, but sometimes you'll watch an actor and they'll be just doing this long discourse on whatever it is they're saying, and I can never figure out how do they remember all those lines.
It's a question that often comes up, and a friend of mine, a terrific actor, a better actor than I am, Dick Volker's his name. I can remember him answering that same question, and he says, some guys can lift up the hood of a car and know what they're looking at. Some guys can take a chainsaw and they know how to operate the thing. Right. Some people look at tech stuff and they say, oh, I know how to do that. And some guys, and when I say guys, I mean men and women, can remember the words.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's actually anybody with a lot of experience in theater will tell you that's just the grunt work. That's just grunt work. The real work of theater is after that's done and you start figuring out what does it all mean? How do I really portray this? How do I connect with the other characters? What does this moment really mean? And how do we carry that over to the audience? How do we keep the pace going the way it's supposed to go? Where do we pause? Where do we not pause? And all those ingredients that distinguish distinguish a great performance from a not so great performance. And another magical thing about theater is audiences know the difference, whether it's the first show they're seeing or the 1,000th show they're seeing. They know the difference. They can perceive. I read this thing somewhere where they said, the writer was saying, and I wish I could remember specifically, but the writer said, when a group of people become an audience, their IQ rises by about 10 or 20 points, just in the group phenomenon of understanding words that are going by. And I was always captivated by that comment.
Can performances change from night to night? So if it's a 5-night run, can it one night be really on, another night be off, or is it fairly consistent from night to night? And what drives that?
The answer is yes to both ways. Sometimes a show will go where it's clockwork, bing, 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 bing. Lots of times it will change. My gut tells me the ones that change are probably better. That means that the actors are more in the moment. But I think at its best, as a run goes on, you keep discovering things as an actor. The level of detail among the cast will get sometimes really elaborate, and someone will say, "Did you see how I sat down a little bit differently there?
Right.
I shuffled my feet a little bit. I scratched my head there, and the take I took out to the audience was a little longer, a little shorter." And I think any theater person will also tell you, a play isn't a play unless there's an audience. The audience is part of it. It's sort of like an electric circuit. If there's one break in the circuit, the current doesn't flow at all. And there's that feedback loop. And I think the best shows account for that feedback in some way. The performance includes that in a way. I mean, it doesn't mean you start changing the dialogue or anything like that, but just the pace you might pick, the pauses that you take might last a little longer, the laughs. So a friend of mine, a Disturbed Theater friend of mine, Rob Murphy, and I, we still talk about it. It must have been 15 years ago. We were doing our show at the Hookie Lau, which is now a pile of bricks somewhere.
Right.
But we were doing, and we had a line, and we still talk about how long we held for that laugh. We think it was somewhere around 45 seconds where we were just there, and we would do a little something in the middle of it to make it go longer. We still talk about it.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was a.
So I'm guessing that obviously live theater is what, I hear actors talking about, the audience is what drives you when you get that reaction and they're laughing and stuff. And I'm sure you have done recorded
some
materials and stuff, and that's got to be much harder because you don't have anything reacting to what you're doing. You're delivering a message, but there's no return coming back.
That is true. There's some. That's a true statement. That there is that element. You don't have that on the upside. You get to do it over again. So, that really stunk. Let's do it again, and maybe I can get it right this time. So there is that. It is a similar, but it is a different craft. It's a companion craft, to be sure.
Right.
I would say not every stage actor is a good film actor, and not every film actor is a good stage actor, but many are both. Many are both. I certainly feel like my strength is live theater, although I'm fairly comfortable in front of a camera.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what got you interested in working with seniors and kind of exploring their theatrical? Let's talk a little bit about that aspect of it.
Yeah,
We've kind of covered the base here.
I love talking about senior theater. So, uh, Massachusetts is blessed with a cultural council, and every city and town, sometimes a cluster of very small towns, has a cultural council, and the state, by way of the Massachusetts State Cultural Council, allocates a certain amount of money for cultural events. And the rules for that are performers or artists of various kinds, with music, art, sometimes it's just informative stuff, nature talks and that, and theater may apply, but they have to be connected with some sort of civic or nonprofit group. And so, having worked with seniors in healthcare, having already written a play for seniors, or about seniors. It was actually written for healthcare workers working with seniors, but it still connected to that. It was an opportunity for me to get some work. And so I did. I created some new shows that were better than that original one that was written largely as a corporate piece. So it had weaknesses in that regard as straight up theater. So I just expanded that, and then expanded it to include a couple of romantic performances, one of which we'll see later on, Mabel and Jerry, Obstacles to the Altar, which is actually a sequel, although you can see them in either order, see one and not the other, doesn't matter, but to another one. And so I started writing those, but then as I moved along doing those in a lot of places, it occurred to me that some places might like to have seniors perform. I mean, for me, my life has been largely about theater, and putting on a show is about as much fun as I can have that I can talk about on the air. So I thought, well, that might be fun. And so I wrote a play for that purpose and recognized that, okay, here's the rules of senior theater. No memorization. As soon as you say memorize, everybody leaves the room.
All right, there's my number one. Right?
No memorization. They read it. And two, no auditions. Anybody that wants to be in the show is in the show. I've never turned anyone away. That includes someone who needed a service dog. That includes some people that were pretty cognitively impaired. I can tell you some stories about that. And it just sort of took off. Takes about 10 rehearsals, short rehearsals, because we get tired. I'm a senior myself now. And we've just had so much fun. And let me tell you this story, because it'll talk about Tina Gorman, who is, I guess, technically our sponsor here.
Right.
I remember telling her, I said, yeah, they read it. There's no memorization. She said, oh. I said, watch. I said, they'll be reading the book, and the audience, after about 30 seconds, won't notice. They will just, it disappears in their minds. They're just watching the show.
Oh, that's interesting.
And Tina comes up to me after our first Westfield show, and she said, you told me about that, and they wouldn't look, and I wasn't so sure. And she said, but it's true.
Wow.
It's true. It just disappears. And there was a bunch of people around here, some Westfield people and Longmeadow people, senior actors who really got the bug. And so we started to tour a little bit to other senior centers with those shows, and it was just a really great thing. It was a bunch of people having a great time, sharing it with some other people, also having a great time. And I'll tell you the story of the first senior theater show I did. It was at a community, a private community of senior care. And I tell the story of being what amounts to the green room, which was a closet that usually had chairs and stuff in it, but they cleared it out so we could wait back there before we entered. And I remember being backstage there with those senior actors. This is the first time I've done it. And there must have been 10 or 12 senior actors and me. and I'm looking at them, and these are people in their 70s and probably one or two, maybe 80, and they are giddy. They are giggling with excitement. There was this woman. She couldn't sit down. She's jumping. She's jumping from one foot to the other. I've worked with seniors in a lot of different venues in healthcare and elsewhere. I've never seen that kind of excitement anywhere else except with theater. And I knew at that point that we had something here. We had something that's worth doing.
Well, that's really fascinating. I'll tell you, you could maybe entice me now that I know that I've got a book in front of me.
There you go.
Crutch.
There you go. You would be
work
most
from that.
welcome. I've never turned anyone
Right.
away. Never.
Well, I like that part too. That
And I
was
never
good.
will. If you want to be in the show, I'll write another part. I'll figure a way. Here's a story of someone who wanted to be in the show. She was, her dementia was pretty advanced. She was really quite confused, but she liked being there. And so she was there, and it was made known to me that she kind of wanted to be in the show, and I said, all right, well, I'll figure something out. And so I wrote one short sentence in about 1,000 font, and I sat her next to a woman who would recognize the cue and would walk her up and hold the thing out there, and she would read it. And the first time she read it, and then proceeded to start to walk off into the audience. It was a little fun, but we rescued her. But she read it. But the real and enjoyed doing that. But the magical part was during the show and during rehearsals, I watched her sitting there, and she's not very communicative because it was hard for her, and she had been a very intelligent person. She has a fairly well-known son. And I watched her sitting there, and she was just beaming because she was part of it. She was part of it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wonder when the last time was that she thought she was part of anything except somebody's job.
Right.
And it just made my heart sing to see that happen for her. I tell you stories all day long.
Are you working with other senior centers as well besides Westfield?
I'm pretty shut down at the moment because of the COVID. But yes, I worked down in South Windsor. I worked in Amherst. I worked in Westfield. I worked in Long Meadow. Worked in Agawam. I was about to work up in, it's going to escape me now. Hadley was going to have me go up there, and they were excited about it. And I know I'm forgetting one or two, but
you've
did a bunch of them,
out.
and it was starting to catch on pretty well, and I was starting to wonder how I was going to schedule it because it's 10 rehearsals, and the rehearsals are a hoot. We have tons of fun doing the rehearsals because I never ridicule. I never, and I never. It's just always, how do I help this person deliver what they can? We know it's not going to be perfect,
Right. Right.
And it's the rehearsal process is just about as much fun as the show.
That's neat. Do you have any sense of when you will get going again with live performances and rehearsrsals, or is it too soon to tell right
there's
now?
Long Meadow's finally opening their senior center, and I usually have cultural council grants, so these are almost always in Massachusetts except for South Windsor, but I'm uncertain about it, but I'm hoping this spring it will seem safe enough, and that they will allow a certain amount of mitigation, that we can have our rehearsals isolated, and I can socially distance the cast and myself. There is one place that's telling me that it's already funded, and to try to get there. So that's likely going to happen in March or April, and we'll have to see what I can do about that. But no, unfortunately, I'm uncertain as to if and when I can make that happen again. But I sure would like to. It doesn't make anyone any happier than it makes me.
You're right. So once you get going again, how can people get involved? Is it just through the membership of the respective senior centers? It's to them, or can other people get involved if they hear about it?
I've never turned anyone away. Sometimes there'll be a senior center will have kind of a not such a great turnout, and I'll sort of call up my cronies that I know. But yeah, I've had people just come in from another town and I want to be in the show. That's all you got to say. If you want to be in the show, we'll get you in the show one way or another.
No limit on numbers.
No. Well, I've never can count it, but I've been close though. I think I had up to 14 one time, which is a bit of a stretch. The wrinkle with that is the show can get pretty long.
Sure.
If you've got to get 14 individual parts up there,
right.
and you still got to drive a plot somewhere.
So
you can't just come up and say the same thing over and over again. So.
Right.
But it's always seemed to have been self-limiting. That just, I think it was around 14 that I had in one place. Actually, I think in South Windsor I might have had 17, and it was a bit of a trick, but we did it.
And these are your shows that you have
I write all the
so
scripts.
you're able to modify and adjust, shrink, and expand as you
Add
see
a part,
fit.
collapse a part, eliminate a part, shrink a part, expand a part. Yeah, so
That's
trying
really
to think
cool.
of some of the other ways we've gotten people in.
And does it all take place at the senior center? So rehearsals and performances take place in the respective senior center.
All the same place, because otherwise it just gets too difficult with
Right.
transportation. And there's always every senior center has some mechanism to help people get there. So that's already solved, and it's just for a couple hours. Yeah, it is something I cherish that I was able to bring that about with the help of a whole lot of other people, but that we could get that done.
That's really interesting. So for our viewers here, you're about to watch a performance of, it's called Mabel and Jerry, Obstacles to the Altar. So Steve, give us a little insight on what that is. Was that a live performance, and that was taped when, and you wrote that, and just a little bit of what our viewers will be watching here.
Yes, it's my script, and co-starred with a Linda Slozak. That she's on the credits, so I can say her name.
Right.
So she's from Westfield too.
We all know her very well.
We shot this up in Greenfield. I have a lot of friends with Silverthorne Theater Company, which performs out of Greenfield, and so some of those connections were able to help me with a terrific videographer and a friend of mine, and one of the most John Iverson, one of the most positive people I've ever met, and just a joy to work with. We did have an audience there, and we had a ton of fun with them, although some of the video ideas were edited down, but you'll see them. So, but the basic storyline is Mabel and Jerry each is planning to pop the matrimonial question to the other, unbeknownst to the other, and they're planning on doing it at a fictitious senior center in the fictitious town of Greensboro. And things go delightfully wrong. And there's all kinds of obstacles to the altar with a warm and happy ending.
Oh, that's really, really cool.
We sure had a lot of fun doing it.
Right.
We had a ton of fun.
Well, I know our viewing audience is going to really enjoy that. So we're going to, I'm just going to do a quick close here, and then we'll bring that to you as you're watching this. So stay tuned because that'll be coming up. But I definitely want to say thanks to our guest here, Steve Henderson.
Sure
really
thing.
fascinating interview.
Thank you.
Love your background and the fact that you're a Westfielder. And
You bet.
it's funny, I've not heard of the work that you're doing, but boy, it's really important and impactful when you think about the audience the target audience that you're working with, and certainly,
Thank you.
The two things that stood out for me: no memorization, people can read. So if you think you want to do this, once the world reopens again, if you think that you want to get involved with this theater group at Westfield Senior Center, definitely keep tuned to them, because you'll see stuff. Tina writes stuff up in her newsletter, but no memorization. That would bring me in, because you only have to read your lines, and no addition. So everybody acts, and you find a way for you to get involved. So what a cool thing to get truly be involved with. I do want to extend a special thanks to Pete Coles, our WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15 manager and producer, for his support and help to make this show possible. And on behalf of Pete Coles, Tina Gorman, I'm Harry Rock. This has been another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents on WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing you right up to Mabel and Jerry, Obstacles to the Altar. Have a great day, everybody.
Mabel? Oh, she's not here yet. Oh, good. I was afraid she'd get here early and ruin everything. She's like that. I don't mean she ruins everything. I mean she likes to be early, like going to the movies or the theater. She doesn't want to wait in line, so we go an hour early and wait anyway. I've stopped arguing about it. Not so bad. We get to talk a lot that way. I should probably introduce myself. My name's Mr. Attrick. You can call me Jerry. That's right, I'm Jerry Attrick. Oh, I'm old, all right. I can tell I'm old because I have so many doctors now. They started their own softball team. Yeah, they have T-shirts with my picture on the front and their numbers on the back. My podiatrist is number 24 because in inches that's 2 feet. My ophthalmologist is 00. My urologist, yeah, I should probably quit right there. Listen, I hope you don't mind if I hang out for a while. You see, I needed a chance to practice the big moment. I mean, I've been practicing by myself, but I needed a little feedback. I had this all worked out at the senior center near where Mabel lives, but a water pipe burst there, and the place is going to be closed for like a week, and I didn't want to wait. Waiting, not waiting, seems to be a theme for the day. All right, I have it all worked out. So Mabel walks in, and I give her the look. The look has to be just right, gentle enough to be inviting, but dangerous enough to stop her in her tracks. She stands there, frozen with expectation. I give her a little eyebrow action. I walk toward her. I walk heroically. And then, when I am hand-holding close, I pop the question. And this is where I need your help with the wording. I have it narrowed down to 3. Here's the first one. Mabel, 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 we have grown so close I can hardly imagine a day without you. Unless, of course, you have a doctor's appointment. Or I have a doctor's appointment. Or we both have a doctor's appointment, but not with the same doctor. Or your grandkids need you, or mine need me, or you're cleaning because with all the dust and the allergies and... Okay, that one gets a little off track. Okay, here's the next one. Mabel, 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 to be or not to be my wife's the question. Whether we're older makes too much to suffer the slims and narrows of our fixed incomes, or to arm in arm go on to flee our troubles, and by, supposing they'll maybe end, no more to sleep alone, but together dream and dream and dream. Could could be a little on the flowery side. All right, I got one more. Hiya, Mabel. How about you, me, 2 tickets to Vegas? Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either. Raise your hand if you think they're all a little wrong. Well, I say something, and then I give her the flowers. The flowers? I don't have the flowers. You can't propose without flowers. It's impossible. They might be in the trunk of my car. If she gets here before I get back, don't say anything, because I'm not sure about this whole thing. And if I am sure, I'm not sure she's sure. And if I am sure and she's sure, I sure want it to be a surprise, so don't say anything.
Woo! Jerry! Oh, he's not here yet. Oh, that's good. I mean, that I'm here first. Oh, I'm such a wreck. I thought it was going to be late, and I do not like being late. I don't even like being on time. I'm really only happy when I'm early. And today, I got stuck behind a teenager taking her driver's license road test. Traffic was backed up worse than the line to the senior center men's room on free coffee day. Huh? Not here yet. Well, that figures. He gets me all excited about some mysterious rendezvous, and then he's late. Okay, I'm actually a little early, but he knows I like to be early, and so I'm thinking he's going to be even earlier, because he's acting like he hit the lottery or something. So even though he's not late, he's not early, and that's almost as bad. I probably should introduce myself. I'm Mabel. Hope you don't mind us meeting here, but the senior center out where I live, well, it's closed because of a busted water pipe. Won't open for at least a week. So, here we are, waiting for Jerry and his big news. Oh, I'm so excited. The last time he told me he had big news, it was buy one, get 2 free canned goods at the supermarket. Threw his back out getting it into the car. But now, I have a surprise for him. You ladies know what it's like. In your 20s and 30s, you wait for the luck to figure out what you knew months ago and pop the question in time for a spring wedding. At our age, we're just hoping for survivor benefits. Here's the deal. I'm gonna pop the question myself. Oh, talk about liberated. In our 20s, we burned our bras. In our 70s, we burn our bridges. Here's the plan. When he comes in, I stop him with a look. And then I run, walk briskly, up to him. And on bended knee, I offer to make an honest man out of him. You know, you could really help me with the wording. I've narrowed it down to 3. Here's the first one. Jerry, we've grown so close this past year. We know all of each other's medications by heart. We fall asleep to the same TV shows. I trust you so much, Jerry. I've even stopped wearing a blindfold when you're driving. We have so darn much fun together that I'm starting to think that we were meant for each other. Secondhand. But hey, a secondhand rose is still a rose, right? So Jerry, oh, I don't know about that one. All right, here's the second one. Jerry, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art 10,000 days from there, and yet I think autumn sometimes sweet. So to winter in cozy stocking feet can seem sometimes a gentle welcome guest, with tea and candlelight and you within my nest. I don't know, that's so something. Okay, last one. Hey, Jerry, I've got some frequent flyer miles. What do you say we head to Vegas and get hitched? I don't know. They all seem so nuts. Oh, I thought I was ready for this, but now I'm not so sure.
It's flowers aren't in the car. Does anybody here have any flowers? Any flowers at all? A dandelion would do. Oh, hi, Mabel.
Hi, Jerry. You're late.
I am?
Well, you're not as early as you should be.
Right. Hard to tell those two apart. Nice to see you.
Oh, yes. Lovely. Good to see you, too.
Too bad about the water pipe.
Oh, well, at our age, you should be used to plumbing issues.
Right. Just doesn't usually require a change of venue.
So, how's it going?
Good. You?
Oh, good. You left these in my fridge.
I did?
George Clooney said it wasn't him, so I kind of figured it must have been you.
Oh, right now. Now I remember. Got them at the supermarket. I had a coupon. The free rose is still a rose, and then I was at your place, and I didn't want to leave them in the trunk.
So, you were saying you had a surprise?
I was?
Oh, maybe that was George Clooney when I was asking him about the roses.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, all right. All right.
Is your arthritis acting up?
This is part of the surprise.
You wanted to surprise me by walking like a weirdo?
It's heroic. This is my heroic walk.
Oh.
Mabel. Oh, phone vibrate. Kara, my daughter. Hi, Kara. Yeah, the place is closed. The water pipe burst there. Right, at my age, I should be used to plumbing issues. Good one. Well, listen, we're in Greensboro, so just get here as quickly as you can. Okay, love you. Bye. Where was I?
You were walking heroically up to the big surprise.
Oh, right, okay. Mabel.
Did you get your eyes tested this morning?
Not as far as I can remember, so probably not.
Well, they give you these drops nowadays. Dilate your pupils, you can't see for like an hour or two.
My eyes are fine.
Then why can't you drive at night?
I didn't say they were perfect. I just meant I didn't have an eye test today. But my eyes are normal, or as normal as they ever get these days. Mabel.
Maybe a nervous tick. Can we get a tick at our age? The nervous kind, not the bug kind.
I don't think so. I think our nervous systems are too busy keeping track of our meds to have a nervous tick. I was making eyes at you. I was being romantic.
Oh, heroic and romantic. Okay.
All right. Here goes. Ta-da! Didn't see that coming, did you?
I drove all the way to Greensboro so you could give me flowers from the supermarket?
Yeah, I didn't think that would work.
Oh, kind of went sideways when I found them in the fridge.
All right, look, you stay there, and I'm going over here, and here comes the surprise.
But if you tell me it's coming, then it's not a surprise.
It's like a birthday present. You know it's your birthday. You know you're going to get a present, but you don't know what the present is. What it is the surprise.
My birthday isn't for 6 months.
I was making an analogy.
Okay.
Mabel.
Did they up your medication? You know, when they up your meds, Jerry, you get a little nuts for a while.
I'm starting over again.
Starting what over?
A surprise. You have to see it all at once or it doesn't work.
Okay.
Mabel.
Wait, hold on, Jerry. It's Weldon, my son.
Her son, right.
Hi, Weldon. No, this is a good time. Yes, Jerry's getting used to his medications. He says hello.
Hello.
We're in, you heard. What's that? Oh, well, get here when you can. What? Oh, that's good. Good. You're wonderful. You must have had an amazing mother. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Mabel, Mabel.
No, hold on, Jerry, hold on.
I'm just getting started again.
I want to ask you a question.
I know how you feel.
How long have you had that microwave on your kitchen table?
I don't know. How long have they had microwaves?
Mine's on the counter. I bought it on sale, plugged it in, and there it sits. You know that shoe bag thing that you have hanging over your closet door? The one that holds all 12 pairs of your shoes?
You don't ask me. Actually, I think Kara got me that.
Oh, yeah, but what I mean is, do you ever notice how you or how everybody fits the space they're in? If that shoe bag thing held 20 pairs of shoes, that's how many shoes you've had. If I owned a shoe store, the first thing I would do would be give everybody a 20-pair shoe bag. I'd be rich in a year.
Are you opening up a shoe store?
No. I'm talking about how things are, the way people are, the way they do things, Jerry. I know your mornings by heart. You get up at 7 and start singing. Off key, but happily. La 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 la, water in the coffee pot. La 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 la, bread in the toaster. La 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 la, butter from the fridge on the table next to a clean plate. You line up your meds, down them with water. Toast pops up, you butter it, you put a little jam on it, put the butter back into the fridge just as the coffee starts to perk. It's a cross between a Chaplin routine and a bad musical. Me? I have the coffee preset. When the alarm goes off, it's all ready. Yogurt from the fridge, add some blueberries, some granola, put on something flannel, sit in the blue chair in the living room and let the morning sun roll over me like one of those massage thingies.
I like my routine. With my routine, I can get things done and still let my mind wander. I do occasionally worry it won't wander back. Mostly, I like thinking about whatever we're going to do that day, or whatever it was we did the day before.
I make a list before I go to bed. And about the time my coffee's almost gone, the sun shines through bright enough for me to read it, and I keep my cheaters over there all the time. I go through the list, and I start figuring out how I can get you or Weldon to do everything on it.
Okay. Mabel.
No, Jerry, wait.
We both already had breakfast. We have breakfast every morning without incident, except for maybe the occasional spill or running out of something. So I don't see why we have to be talking about this right now.
You do know that when you're there in the morning, you take the blue chair.
It's the only place I can read.
But I still have my list.
So that's why you sit on my lap, and here I thought you were being romantic.
Well, a girl can have a list and still be romantic, Jerry. Multitasking. Ladies are much better at it.
Okay, I guess I just never thought of being romantic as a task.
Picture the day, Jerry. You know the one.
Last Tuesday?
Sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes any day, sometimes 2 or 3 days in a row. I get up first thing just like normal. Coffee, blue chair, here comes the sun, with or without George Harrison. And somewhere on my list, it says you and me. Probably the only thing on the list, Jerry, because a you and me day requires multitasking at a very high level. You have no idea the sorting and selecting that goes on. Are we talking breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Warm or cold, inside or outside, music, theater? How long will I have to stand? Because I have standing shoes and sitting shoes, Jerry, and there is no suffering worse than sitting and standing shoes or vice versa. Dancing shoes is a whole category unto itself.
Shoes, brown or black to match the outfit. Boots in the winter, sneakers if you can get away with it. It's best to keep things simple.
The vanity, Jerry. Vanity as an adjective is bad, but vanity as a noun tells of a secret island, an island full of lotions and potions, unguents and gels, all the exotic secrets of flowers and pheromones learned over the centuries.
You seem younger than that.
Well, I'll settle for younger than you. I love the waiting, Jerry. When I know we're gonna meet for breakfast, I get up an hour early so I can love the waiting.
I get all the rest I can. Lay out my clothes the night before, set the alarm clock 10 minutes past the last possible moment, usually take an extra heart pill.
What to wear is a delightful agony. Oh, finding just the right thing. It depends as much as how I feel at the moment as it does on where we're going, except for the shoes. I try on this and that, I mix and match, I look in the mirror, but I won't know for sure until I close my eyes. That's when I know how it makes me feel. People really only see how you feel, Jerry.
Seems like I would have got slapped more often.
There's still time for that.
I'm always excited when I know I'm going to see you. That's why I need the extra rest. The trouble is, because of the extra rest, I have to hurry, which takes more energy. It's a delicate balance. The alarm goes off, it's a mad scramble, in and out of the shower, into the clothes I laid out the night before, and then I run downstairs slowly, and then I run upstairs quickly to get whatever it is I forgot. It varies, but I always forget something. And it is right about then that I realize I'm having outrageous fun. I love the rush, in all senses of the word, except the medical one.
Oh, boy. Vive la différence?
C'est la guerre.
There's all kinds of information out there. Books, all kinds of people, friends, experts, who are ready to tell you when you might be too young to get married. Not a lot of info out there about when you might be too old. I wonder if there's a mathematical formula about it, like if your age times the number of medications you take is over 300 or something. I wonder if at our age we have to pass a test to get a marriage license. Questions are all different now. When you're 25, you wonder, will he be a good father? Will he be responsible? Will he be faithful? Now I just wonder, will he remember the name of my kid, or where I left my reading glasses, or his own? Oh, I don't know. I thought I was ready for this, but now I'm not so sure. I guess we'll just see what his big surprise is and go from there.
I don't know. The whole process is backwards now. I mean, when you're young and you want to get married, you talk to a clergy person. When you're old and you want to get married, you talk to a lawyer. When you're young, it's all about getting a house and having kids. When you're old, it's all about getting rid of the kids and deciding whose house to sell. When you're young, you learn to work together. When you're old, you learn to work around each other. We have routines. We have more routines than a vaudeville show. And most of them about as old. I don't know. Let's see what she's on about with this meals and makeup stuff and take it from there.
So, lovely weather we're having.
How about those Red Sox?
I had a really nice time at the movies the other night.
Blankets, popcorn, and HBO. The dating trifecta.
We always have so much fun playing cards with the Barnes.
Well, now that they know how to get to your place.
Were they waiting long that time?
No. They saw my lights were out and figured it out.
Oh.
Got your canned goods in the trunk.
Buy one, get two free again? You'll need to carry them in for me.
Got my back brace right there. We still on for that trip to New York?
Oh, on the calendar, circled in red.
Remember, I'm going to need a wake-up
call. I'll remember.
So,
lovely weather we're having.
how about those Red Sox? Mabel.
Jerry, stay there.
Okay.
Stand up for crying out loud.
Well, you didn't say anything about standing or sitting.
I thought it was
I
obvious.
haven't done obvious since Leno went off the air.
Jerry, shall I compare thee to...
Oh, thank heaven. Oh, Kara.
Weldon, traffic? At this time of day? Come on.
Oh, wow, what can you do?
Well, get here when you can.
Take all the time you need.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Where were we?
Well, it depends. We're either back where I left off before all the panic attacks and the first interruptions, or we're back where you left off before your seeming flashback to the Renaissance era and the last phone calls.
Jerry, you have a point. This day is not going at all the way I had planned.
You had a plan for today?
Well, so did you, it seemed.
So I did.
Yeah, well, I think you should know my plan before you tell me yours.
No. I can't even think about another plan until I tell you about my plan. Plans are like matter and antimatter. They collide, they explode.
Well, if your antimatter blows up my matter, it won't matter anyway.
Yeah, with the fact of the matter is, I don't know what, but something doesn't matter with this whole thing.
What whole thing?
Exactly.
Jerry, I'm going over there and do this. I'm going to be over there in about 10 seconds, so plan on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going over there, and I'm going to execute my plan.
Yeah, well, somehow execution seems the right word.
Get ready, because I'm doing this come what may.
Fine. We'll
Fine.
do it together.
Fine. On 3.
1, 2, 3.
Hold on, I forgot the flowers.
But I already have them.
But I have to give them to you.
Why, when I already have them?
Because it's part of the plan.
But it's supposed to be a surprise.
So fake it.
Oh, I'm used to that.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Mabel.
Jerry.
To be or not to be my wife's the question.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Whether we're older makes too much to suffer the slims and narrows of our fixed incomes.
Thou art 10,000 days from there.
Or to arm in arm go on to flee our troubles.
And yet I think autumn sometimes sweet.
And by, supposing they'll maybe end.
So to winter in cozy stocking feet can seem sometimes a gentle welcome guest.
No more to sleep alone, but together dream and dream and dream.
With tea and candlelight and you within my nest.
Mabel.
Jerry.
Kara.
Weldon.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, that's kind of stuck there. All right. Yeah. Kara,
Hi, Weldon.
I'm kind of in the middle of something here. Well, I would have turned my phone off, but every time I turn my phone off, I forget to turn it back on again, and then I get about 10 calls. Most of them from doctor's offices, but still.
Hi, Weldon. What's up? This is like the 10th time you phoned this afternoon. All right, so I rounded up. Oh, you know I like talking to you. You know I do, but I'm kind of in the middle of something here.
I did want to wait for you, but time and tide wait for no man, and I was afraid the same was true of Mabel. Now you're getting it.
Yes, he is, and I think he's in the middle of something too, it seems. I don't know for sure, but I think he might be in the same middle as I am. Well, you know.
Well, I did say I wasn't sure, but every time I think I've made up my mind, I change my mind. I mean about my mind being made up.
Well, I know I said that I might forget it, and I still might, or might not. Oh, I wish I had a daisy to help me decide. He's the one, he's not. He's the one, he's not.
Look at, she's just a little cantankerous at times, a touch obstinate. I am talking about her good qualities.
He's nuts. He'd be in the loony bin, except he can't find his GPS.
She won't even let me sit by myself in the blue chair.
What, I'm supposed to spend the rest of my days listening to the breakfast musical? I'd end up as naughty as he is.
We'd always be late. I'd be right on time, just running back upstairs to get whatever it is I forgot. She'd still be playing dress up at the Vanity.
Turn your back for 5 minutes, he's got his sneakers back on. 12 pairs of shoes, and he's always in sneakers.
She's impossible.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I did hide his GPS because we have such fun driving around.
Now, I did pretend I couldn't find my GPS so we could ride around a little longer.
I donated 10 bags of canned goods to the open pantry last month to make room for the ones he keeps bringing me. He likes giving me things. Lights his face all up.
She laughs at my jokes.
I just pretend to laugh at his jokes.
Sometimes I know she's just pretending to laugh at my jokes, but even her pretend laugh lights her face all up. She's got a nice face. I think I miss that face.
I'd especially miss that face when he's laughing.
It's just, I don't exactly know how to ask.
You know, it's the kind of question that needs to be worded just so. What do you think?
That's it? Just say, will you marry me?
Gotta go.